logged out of the game and stood up to go to the kitchen and grabbed a glass and began to fill it with water. As I leaned against the kitchen counter drinking the water, I looked out to the back French doors that opened up to my deck. My phone chimed. I pulled it out of my pocket and saw that I had a notification from my home security camera. The system was top of the line, which I felt was necessary since I live alone. Also, there were some burglaries that happened a few months back, and the HOA had all agreed that we needed to beef up surveillance by networking our systems together. This way we could cross-reference any movement in the event that something happened again. Luckily, during the burglary spree, I was spared from any sort of break-in, but the house 3 doors down from me ended up having a lot of valuable jewelry and electronics stolen. The criminals had entered their house through the back garage door when the family was out on vacation. I guess they were in and out of there in less than 10 minutes. No one had seen or heard a thing. Nothing was picked up on any cameras, and so we all decided to rig up our houses. I was really glad that my house wasn't hit, but regardless, I did get a little spooked thinking about someone casing my house, waiting for me to leave, and then coming in and stealing all my things. But back to the system that I got. The really cool thing about it is it gives an early detection warning and records up to a full minute of activity. Also, it has a nighttime setting that lets you see anything at night with IR. So naturally, when I bought the cameras, I went all in. I have one placed in my backyard, at the front door as a doorbell, one in my kitchen, front entrance, hallways, and 2 downstairs in the basement area. I read the notification on my phone. It said movement detected in the kitchen and your backyard. Well, I was in the kitchen, but what was up with the movement in my backyard? I opened the app and went to the saved video of my backyard and hit the play button. There it was, illuminated in IR. It gave the grass a grayish-white hue and lit up my 8-foot privacy fence. Any source of light was amplified and stood out like a sore thumb. The video had been playing for about 15 seconds now and nothing was showing up. The thing was so sensitive to movement that more often than not, it was triggered by an errant leaf blowing across my yard, the wind swaying the grass, and this little squirrel friend that frequents my yard. I still remember the first time my little squirrel buddy made his appearance. It was about a year ago now. The critter had poked his head up from the back of my fence, looked around, and jumped in my backyard to explore. My camera picked it up and sent me a notification. I actually saved that video, and many others of him since our first encounter. I like seeing the little dude, just checking out my yard, digging around, and stopping suddenly to sniff the air. I started leaving him vegetables, and he's become pretty expectant of them as of late, which I'm totally fine with. I love the videos of him coming by to get a snack and hang around for a while. Kinda made my day. While I was watching the rest of the recorded video of my yard, I received another movement notification. I furrowed my brows and peeked outside. Then I clicked into the newly saved video. There was nothing. Not a leaf, not a blade of grass moving, and not even my little squirrel buddy. Then at about 20 seconds in, I thought I saw something move. It was in the back corner of my yard, about 30 feet away from where I was standing. It was faint. I couldn't quite make it out. I went back to the spot where the movement occurred. When I could just see the movement, I paused the video and zoomed in. I couldn't quite make out what it was though. It was too blurry. Whatever it was too large to be my little friend. My phone chimed again. Another movement detection at my backyard. I opened the video and let it play. This time the faint blurry apparition could be seen better. It was human-shaped. But I couldn't be sure that it was actually someone in my backyard. Maybe it was a smudge on the camera? Regardless, this got my heart rate going. My breathing quickened as I continued to watch the video. I moved closer and closer to the security camera. More and more movement notifications started chiming on my phone. Then my backyard motion sensor's light kicked on. I shot my head towards the French door and looked outside. The whole yard was lit up, every single inch. I began to sweat as my heart rate increased and the adrenaline in my body started taking full effect on me. But there wasn't anything there. What the hell happened to the human form I saw? Was it a smudge on the camera? No. It moved. It moved closer to the camera. A smudge doesn't move. I had to be making it up. I was tired. My eyes were playing tricks on me. Maybe I had too much caffeine today. I don't know. But what I do know is that I could see out my backyard and there wasn't anything there. I set my phone down on the kitchen counter and walked my French doors. I made sure they were locked. They were, so that was good. I stared out into the yard for a minute to see if anything was moving. The security light was still on and would stay that way for another 2 minutes, but nothing happened. No movement, no grass swaying, and no leaves dancing across the lawn. The light switched off and my phone immediately chimed again. I rushed over to it and read the notification. Motion detected at your front door. My heart sank. What the fuck is going on? I opened the saved video and there it was, maybe 5 feet from my front door camera. A human-like figure standing in my yard, just staring at my house. I couldn't make out any facial features, but what I could see is that the figure had long blonde hair that just fell beyond the bust region. Was it a woman? They were slight of build and were wearing an old-style filthy nightgown, like something you would see out of the 1920s. The figure just stood there with its arms slack and still at its sides. Its head was slightly tilted down just enough to where the hair blanketed the thing's face. It just stood there and stared, and I just stared back at my phone screen. When the video ended, I went to the homepage of my app and found the button for the front door live view. My finger hovered over the button for a second. My breathing began to quicken. I hit the live view button and let out a choke scream. It was a woman, and she was now standing on my front porch. The IR image made her entire appearance grayish-white in color. Her hair still hung in a manner that hid her face. A million thoughts began to dance in my head. Did she even have a face? Was she hurt and needing my help? Was this one of the burglars casing my place? My thoughts jumbled, and as they did so, she began to bend down at her waist, keeping the void of her face tilted up towards the camera. Her arms stayed limp and perpendicular to the ground, hanging low and out of view of the camera's range as she bent over. When her torso was parallel to the ground, she stopped. Not once did she move her head. Not one noise came from her. Her right arm began to rise up slowly, and in her hands were... Oh God. It was my little squirrel friend. She had my fucking squirrel. She was crudely holding my squirrel friend around the midsection. It struggled and clawed. I saw it bite down on her finger not once, not twice, but 3 times. She didn't twitch, she didn't move, and she acted like she did not feel a thing at all. I hit the talk button and I screamed on my phone. You put him down. You put him down right now. I know she had to have heard me, but she didn't move. She just held the squirrel in her hand as it struggled to break free. I could hear it chittering angrily as its attacks on her hand became more frantic. Seeing this, anger began to fill me. I pushed the talk button again. I will come out there and you will have hell to pay. Put the squirrel down. She raised her left hand slowly to her face, and with her index finger pointing out, she said, shh. With her finger still extended in front of her face, she began to squeeze the squirrel. It fought harder. I was glued to the screen. I couldn't turn my eyes away. I began to let out small cries of dismay. Then the sound came. The high-pitched squealing of the squirrel as it fought its final battle with the woman. There was a small cracking noise and the squirrel's ribs began to break, and a snap as its spine gave way. A pained cry rang out from my little squirrel friend, and then silence. The squirrel laid slumped over the woman's hand, limp and lifeless. He was dead. Oh God, my little squirrel friend was dead. I pushed the talk button again and began to speak while fighting off tears. You bitch. He did nothing to you and you killed him. He was a harmless animal and he was my friend. That is when I noticed that the grip around the squirrel's lifeless body was still tightening. Her grip got tighter and tighter until the flesh around the squirrel began to peel away. Blood began oozing down her hand. Intestines, the stomach, and finally the bottom half of the squirrel separated and fell out of view. In one quick movement, she tossed the remaining carcass out into the yard. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What am I supposed to do? The woman's head slowly cocked to the side. I should call the cops. Yeah. Call the cops like right fucking now. I ended the live view and began to dial 911. My phone chimed. Motion detected at the front entrance. Another chime. Motion detected in the living room. Another chime. Motion detected in the kitchen. I hit call and shot my head up. She was in my fucking house. In my kitchen with me. In the same bent down position. Head cocked to the side and arms hanging low. Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency? Ah! Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Sir? Sir, if you can hear me, help is on the way. Sir, I have 2 officers coming to your address now.
Sir? You can help me continue my research. Go to patreon.com/The Nightmare Trials. For as little as $5 a month, you will obtain access to my personal research files. And if you need more, I will provide you a look into the interdimensional radio station. Listen as other dimensional beings speak about life beyond us.